How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its excellent fall savings sale. It's got a lot of great deals available, and I want to highlight some of those deals under $5. You guys know how it is. We are not going to be looking at every deal in this video under $5, of course, not even the ones that are notable to me. There's a lot of good stuff, so we'll probably do either another video. We might look at deals under $3. Haven't decided yet, but let's get right into it. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is 80% off for $3.99. At this point, I feel like the majority of you guys have played Tomb Raider 2013, but if you haven't, the Definitive Edition is a great pickup. I love the Tomb Raider games since this, I guess you could call it reboot, origin story, whatever you want to say. They're a great set of games, and I think they are just as good as the Uncharted games. I know the Tomb Raider and Uncharted games have always been compared to one another, but prior to Tomb Raider 2013, I feel like Uncharted was a level above over Tomb Raider, but then Tomb Raider 2013 and onwards, I feel like brought these games onto the same level. For $4, it's a great pickup. Fairly short game, and sometimes these days, that's exactly what we need. $3.99, pretty good pickup there. Next up, we got Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, 75% off for $4.99. This is a JRPG that I constantly go to bat for. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's got a pretty unique gameplay style, being more of a tactics JRPG. You're not going to find a lot of other JRPGs like this. Narratively, it's quite good, and I feel like if you're not even the biggest fan of JRPGs, you could still have a pretty solid time with it. Given that, you know, the story is just a war story, you've got a fairly likable cast of characters, and the gameplay is so different than a lot of other JRPGs that I don't think that this is a bad, like, gateway JRPG for a lot of people. If you like your tactics titles, Valkyria Chronicles is something you're going to enjoy quite a lot. There are some levels in this game that I did find absolutely irritating, but for the most part, really good, and the watercolor art style has just aged absolutely gracefully, even being 16 years removed from the original release. But yeah, $5 for that, no-brainer there. Next up, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition. This game was really one of the first great PlayStation 4 titles. Came out in the fall of 2014, and then ultimately they ported it down to PS3 as well. And it's a well-done open-world action title. I think from a gameplay standpoint, it's incredibly satisfying. The story's pretty good, and a decent amount of content. The Definitive Edition will give you bonus content as well. Game of the Year Edition, I should say. $4.99, pretty good pickup there. Definitely worth a shout. And another game that a lot of you guys own, but if you don't, go pick this up, then go play Shadow of War. Next up, we got Mark of the Ninja Remastered, 75% off for $4.99. I played this on the Xbox 360 when it initially came out years and years ago, and I feel like it was one of the first downloadable titles, much like Bastion, much like Braid, that showcased that downloadable titles could be these compelling, unique experiences, and Mark of the Ninja was absolutely that. Finally came out on PlayStation in the form of Mark of the Ninja Remastered, and visually it looks great, stylish as all hell, and the gameplay is quite enjoyable, and obviously with this Remastered edition, you do have it updated. The visuals still hold up fairly well, just had a great art style. If you like action stealth titles, for $4.99, this is quite good. For a while, it was going on sale for like $7.99 and $9.99, and you guys know me, I'm fairly cheap. I think for $5, this game is an absolute home run, really the perfect price to pay for it. Next up, Transistor, 80% off for $3.99. Mentioned Bastion a second ago because that was the coming out party for Supergiant Games. Transistor was their second title, and at this point, Supergiant is pretty much well known for Hades and Hades 2, of course. But their earlier games were really well done. Transistor had an awesome setting, a great visual style, great aesthetics, and a great soundtrack. What does that remind you of? Pretty much every other Supergiant game, but Transistor was a really, really unique game. It was a PlayStation Plus title when it came out, like way back in the day in 2014. For $3.99, this is an excellent pickup, and again, these days Supergiant is going to get most of their attention for Hades, and that's great. Hades is awesome, but Transistor, I thought, was a well-done game. Interesting narrative to go along with it. For $3.99, again, no-brainer. Next up, Axiom Verge, 75% off for $4.99. Axiom Verge is awesome. It was a game done by a single person, and it turned out really well. If you're a fan of your throwback Metroidvanias, which I know that we're just like inundated with these styles of games these days, but back in 2015, I believe, when it came out, it was a little bit of a different time, and I thought it was a breath of not fresh air, but a throwback that wasn't needed, but it was nice to experience. And the fact that this was done by one person is incredibly impressive. If you're a fan of your Super Nintendo era games, Axiom Verge will be right up your alley, and you'll enjoy it quite a bit for this price point. Again, great pickup. Next up, we got Metro Redux, 85% off for $4.49. Now, before you pick this up, it should be noted that the Metro Saga bundle is on sale for $8.99. If you don't have any of the Metro games, that's a really good pickup, given that that includes Exodus's Gold Edition, the third Metro game, you'll get the DLC content as well. So definitely that's the route I would go if you want to get all 3 titles. However, if you just want to spend $4.50 on Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, this is a damn good deal as well. I played Metro 2033 way back when it was like the original Metro 2033 and not the Redux version. It's a really well done atmospheric first-person shooter, and these games very much lean on their narratives as well, and a lot of the times first-person shooters, especially in that era where we were getting so many multiplayer-oriented games, Metro offered something compelling that a lot of other games weren't offering. A great post-apocalyptic setting, and again, the atmosphere is incredibly engrossing. $4.49 is great. Kind of a bummer that the next Metro game is a VR title, but what can you do? It is what it is, and I think Metro in VR is actually going to be really cool, but, you know, prefer the regular style of Metro game, but $4.49 for Redux, definitely a good pickup. Next up, we got GRIS, 80% off for $3.39. Now, this game is getting added to PlayStation Plus Extra here in just under a week, so if you got Plus Extra, probably just play it that way. However, this is a game that I highly recommend a lot of you guys to check out. I get it that maybe at a surface level, it might not be the style of game that you're itching for, but it's an incredibly moving experience, and I would really use that term to describe GRIS rather than a video game. It's more of an experience. Incredible visuals, incredible aesthetics, the sound design is great, and incredibly emotional as well. Depending on, you know, it's hard to really ascertain how people are gonna react to a game that tries to make you emotionally feel a certain type of way. That's just gonna resonate with people in different ways. Like, I legitimately think GRIS is gonna be some game that some people play, and it's gonna be like a mind-blowing experience to them, and it's gonna be one of the most compelling experiences ever. And for other people, they could find the interesting elements of it, but it won't resonate with them as much. But I think everybody can appreciate a game like GRIS, and I've always said when it comes to a game like this, really showcases games as an art form, and for $3.39, a great pickup there. Next up, .hack GU Last Recode, 90% off for $4.99. Now, I'm always going to be biased towards .hack. .hack was one of the major JRPG franchises I grew up with, and really, as far as all of the JRPGs I played growing up, obviously Final Fantasy is going to be like the one that's obvious to everyone, but if you want to talk about the IP that I really clicked with, it was .hack. Like, I love the characters, I love the story arc of Haseo, you know, it's very generic anime storytelling in terms of this guy that doesn't want to interact with anybody, and then, you know, he develops friends along the way, and, you know, it's very cliche anime stuff, but it clicked with me back in the day, and the gameplay is worthwhile, even though it's a little bit repetitive, and the dungeon design, definitely, it's retreads over and over again, but for $4.99, you get 3 games that back in the day we were getting juiced $40 a pop on. It's much better of a pickup at $4.99 for the entire collection. You get a 4th smaller episode in there as well. Some of the storytelling pacing wasn't great, but overall had a great time with it, and I hope in this lifetime maybe CyberConnect 2 will go back and do another .hack game, because I really enjoyed it. I think there's an audience that would want one, but, you know, Last Recode came out back in 2017, and we still haven't heard about a new .hack game, so it is what it is. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, the complete edition, 67% off for $4.94. Great beat-em-up here, fantastic art style. I have no affinity towards Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but as a beat-em-up action title, this one was pretty well done. Charming visuals, and an incredibly colorful game as well. If you like your beat-em-ups, you're gonna have a good time with this one. $4.94, not a bad pickup there. Contra Anniversary Collection, $3.99. Speaking of side-scrolling action games, which I would put Scott Pilgrim in that category, but Contra Anniversary Collection is a collection of some of the throwback Contra titles, and these are going to be games that are challenging, but definitely a nostalgic throwback. You get Contra, Super Contra, Contra NA, Contra JP, Super C, Contra 3, The Alien Wars, and more. If you're looking for some throwback action titles, I mean, Konami's going back to the well, and I don't even want to say back to the well as if it's a bad thing. They have all these great IPs under their umbrella. Contra Anniversary Collection showcases Contra at a really good level, and for $3.99 to get all these games, definitely a good shout there. Next up, Brotato, 25% off for $3.74. Yes, the game is always under $5, but given that it's on sale, thought it was worth a mention here as well. This game is just a ton of fun. If you want to talk about games that really have the fun factor in video games, which ultimately that's what video games are supposed to be, Brotato is exactly that. It's a game that you can pick up and play for a while, drop it, and then a couple months down the line, you can go back to it and still have a good time with it. It gained a lot of fanfare on PC, available on PS4 and PS5, $3.74. Great pickup there. And lastly, Rogue Legacy, 80% off for $3.39. Very challenging action roguelike title. Not incredibly challenging compared to some other titles, but challenging enough, and Rogue Legacy is an iconic game at this point. If you want an action roguelike, definitely Rogue Legacy will be worthwhile at $339, great price point as well, and definitely worth a look. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available right now. Links to all of these in the description box below. As far as this sale goes, these deals are just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of other good stuff available as well. That's going to do it for me. Stay tuned for more coverage of the fall savings sale. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.